The rain fell like broken glass against the window that night, sharp, cold, and unrelenting. Inside a tiny apartment lit by the dim glow of a dying bulb, the young boy sat motionless beside his mother's bed, listening to the rhythm of her breathing, each inhale weaker than the one before. Outside, the city moved on, cars honking, lights flickering, laughter echoing from somewhere far away. But for 16-year-old Iron, the world had stopped. It had stopped the day his mother's laughter faded into silence, the day warmth left their home, the day love began to sound like a memory. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of love that never dies, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes one simple act of kindness can change the ending of someone's story. Iron had not always known pain. There was a time when life was filled with sunlight, when his mother, Sarah, would chase him across the kitchen with flour on her hands, giggling as she tried to bake something new even when money was tight. She was the kind of mother who found joy in the smallest things: a free park, a shared ice cream, an old radio playing their favorite song. But beneath her smiles, there was a hidden fatigue, a quiet exhaustion she never let him see. She worked 2 jobs, at a bakery by morning and cleaning offices by night. Iron didn't understand why she came home with blistered hands and forced smiles. He only knew that somehow everything in their world depended on her. Then one day, everything changed. Sarah collapsed at work. Doctors said it was exhaustion at first, but later came the real blow: a failing heart, worsened by years of overwork and malnutrition. Iron was only 14 then, too young to carry the world, yet life gave him no choice. Hospitals, medicines, bills, everything became a mountain he couldn't climb. He dropped out of school to work part-time at a car wash, hiding the truth from his mother. He'd tell her he still attended classes, that he was doing well, but in reality, every night he'd walk home soaked in sweat and shame, hands trembling as he counted the few crumpled notes that never seemed enough. There were nights he'd cry silently beside her hospital bed, wishing for miracles. He'd look at her sleeping face, her skin pale against the white sheets, and wonder why the world was so cruel to those who gave it everything. Yet even then, when she was conscious, she'd smile and whisper, "We'll be okay, Iron. Just don't stop dreaming." But dreams didn't pay for medicines. Dreams didn't keep the lights on. The neighbors whispered, as people often do. They said Sarah should have asked for help. They said the boy was too young to carry such burdens. Yet no one offered to help, not really. Some offered sympathy, others pity, but no one stepped into their storm. The car wash owner, a gruff man with kind eyes, noticed Iron's exhaustion and one day handed him a warm meal. "Eat, son," he said softly. "You can't fight the world on an empty stomach." That small gesture, a plate of rice and chicken, felt like a miracle. As weeks turned into months, Sarah's condition worsened. The hospital bills stacked up like bricks of despair. Iron stopped eating properly, saving every penny for her treatment. On cold nights, he would sit by the window, watching other kids walking home from school with backpacks, laughing, living. He'd press his forehead against the glass and whisper, "One day, Mama, I'll make you proud." But life doesn't wait for promises. The call came on a gray morning, the kind of morning that smelled of rain and heartbreak. Sarah's heart had stopped. For a few minutes, doctors tried to bring her back, but the world had already taken her too far. When Iron reached the hospital, she was gone. He stood beside her bed, numb, staring at her still hands, the same hands that had once brushed away his tears, held him close when the world felt too heavy. For the first time, there were no words left, no prayers strong enough to reach her. The nurse gently placed a small envelope on his palm. his mother's handwriting on it. Inside was a note that simply said, "My son, don't let life make you bitter. Love the world even when it forgets to love you back. And when you miss me, look at the sunrise. I'll be there." That letter broke him. It also became the reason he got back up. Iron buried his mother quietly. No crowd, no flowers, just a simple goodbye whispered to the wind. After that, he stopped talking much. He wandered through days like a shadow, working, eating little, sleeping less. But deep inside, something started to shift. He remembered her words, "Don't stop dreaming." So he tried. He went back to the school he'd left behind, pleading for a chance to return. The principal, an old man who had known Sarah, looked at him for a long time and said, "You've grown up too fast, son. Come back. Your mother would want that." He gave Iron a scholarship, partial, but enough to give him hope. Balancing school and work wasn't easy. He'd wash cars at dawn, attend classes by day, and study late into the night under a flickering bulb. There were days he fell asleep over his books, days he wanted to give up. But every time he looked at his mother's photograph, he felt something powerful, a quiet, unseen strength that pushed him forward. Then one afternoon, something unexpected happened. A teacher announced a national essay competition titled "The Person Who Changed My Life." Without hesitation, Iron wrote about his mother. He poured his entire soul into those pages. The smell of her cooking, the warmth of her hugs, the courage she taught him. He ended the essay with her final words, "Love the world even when it forgets to love you back." Weeks passed, and Iron forgot about the contest, until one morning, the school principal called him to the office. "Iron," he said, eyes glistening, "you've won. First place. National level." The prize money wasn't much, just enough to cover his next year's expenses. But for Iron, it was never about money. When his essay was published online, something miraculous happened. Strangers from all over began reaching out, sharing stories of their own mothers, their losses, their love. Some sent small donations, others offered mentorship, and one foundation even offered him a full scholarship for college. For the first time in years, Ian smiled, truly smiled. He realized that his mother's love hadn't died with her. It had spread through his words, through the hearts of people who had never even met her. Years passed. Ian graduated with honors and became a social worker, dedicating his life to helping single mothers and underprivileged kids. He often visited hospitals, paying bills for strangers in memory of his mother. On the wall of his small office hung her photograph and her final letter, framed, glowing softly under the morning light. Every year, on her death anniversary, Ian would walk to the hill behind their old apartment, the place where the sunrise painted the sky gold. He'd sit there quietly whispering, "I made it, Mama. You were right. Love never dies." One morning, as he sat watching the sky, a little boy came running up the hill, crying. His clothes were torn, his eyes filled with fear. Iron knelt beside him, asking what happened. The boy said his mother was sick and they couldn't afford medicine. Without hesitation, Iron took the boy's hand and said, "Let's go get her help." In that moment, it all came full circle. The boy didn't know it yet, but love, the same kind of love that had once saved Iron, was about to save him too. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you of the strength of a mother's love, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These stories live because of people like you, people who still believe in compassion, in resilience, in love that survives everything. Before we end, I have one small request. Comment below and tell us what mother's love means to you. Maybe your words will comfort someone who needs them today. Because in the end, love doesn't die. It becomes the sunrise after the darkest night, a whisper in the wind, a light in our hearts. Ion's story reminds us all that no matter how far we fall, the love that raised us will always lift us again. And as the morning sun rose that day, painting the sky in shades of gold, it felt like sorrow was smiling, proud, peaceful, eternal. The end.